I mean, stream title should be updated by now, right? Yeah, it looks right to me. Fruit of Grisaia. I highly doubt too many people will show up because it's really late at night and most of the people who subbed to my channel in the first place are now getting everything but Super Mario ROM hacking related content. That's just the way things are now. Okay, so I took a break from this for like a week. I mean, I don't want to just completely ignore this game. I mean, it hasn't really started yet anyways. I'm still being introduced to all the characters in the academy itself. And I'm assuming Yumiko is talking about Amane right now. Out of consideration for her past, you found yourself unable to flatly refuse her demands for physical contact. And that toleration gave rise to this flagrantly over-the-top fondling, right? We'll make a detective of you yet. You're quite full of yourself. Sakaki, what sort of accident was Amane involved in? I don't know. Might be a while before we figure out, unless I just spoil myself right away. Honestly, probably better off I just leave it alone for now. I don't know, and I don't particularly want to know either. Although I have heard that the incident involved a motor vehicle accident. Someone died in a minibike accident, I guess? A car crash? Apparently, a bus she was riding was in a serious accident which gave rise to mental illness, or something along those lines. My information is admittedly limited, but I certainly didn't hear anything about a pathological need to hold hands. Now why was she so persistent about it? I'm telling you, I don't know. Her eyesight is bad, maybe that's the cause? Does bad eyesight make you want to hold hands? Who knows? Babies with undeveloped eyesight calm down by confirming the shape and warmth of things in their mouth. Maybe physical contact is reassuring when you can't see well? A plausible theory, but I'm having a hard time buying it. In the first place, are her eyes that terrible? I don't know. Not interested. I'm wasting my breath talking to you. What a coincidence, I was just about to mention how incredibly tedious I find speaking with you. Guess we're done here. Or we would be if I hadn't just spotted Komine Sachi out of the corner of my eye. Hey Sachi, you have a minute? Yes, what can I do for you? Do you know anything in particular about Amane's past? I can't say I'm familiar with the details. So in other words, nobody knows the whole story? It's not the sort of topic we feel comfortable asking about. And if she recovered emotionally to a point where she could proactively share the story of her misfortune, she wouldn't be stuck in a place like this. True enough. As long as the person in question doesn't want to discuss it, I suppose I shouldn't pry any further. And in the first place, I'm a little dubious that Amane's past really has anything to do with holding my hand. Let's see. Did you perhaps do something to gain her affection, prompting an unconscious desire to hold your hand? That's taking things in a new direction, specifically. What do you think I did? Someone's probably messaging me on Discord. Debug is going on about how I look like frame perfection. If I take the wig off, I probably won't look that much like him. Or maybe I'll still look like him after he, like, got a haircut. For example, maybe you rescued Amane-san when she was surrounded by a gang of hooligans. Maybe like the second or third time you actually saw my real hair on one of these live streams. Just so you know, this is actually more or less closer to what I look like in real life. Not this. On a rainy day, she spotted you silently leaving your umbrella over an abandoned kitten in a cardboard box. What's so funny? Well, whatever, neither rings a bell. I have no memories of us being lovers in a previous life either. A nasty memory like that would best be forgotten anyway. It is quite the event that a boy finally transferred into the school. Maybe she wants to try out the experience of dating now that she has the chance? You think so? Incidentally, does that mean you've got an interest in holding hands and going on a date with me as well? Well, I'm not opposed to holding hands itself. If you strongly order me hold hands with me, we're going on a date, I'm fairly sure I wouldn't refuse. I see. Thank you for your valuable opinion. I'll file it under not helpful in the slightest. How about you, Sakaki? Me? Holding hands? On a date? With you? Right, gotten the interest? This is a problem. I'm not sure how to answer without hurting you. I get the picture. Thanks so much for your compassion. So in the end, asking around didn't get me anything resembling a clear answer. From what Sakaki says, it doesn't seem like Amane wants to hold hands indiscriminately. The mystery's only deepened. There's Amane. I think Debug is still going on about how I look like frame perfection over Discord. As in the speedrunner frame perfection. Something in general. You guys are twins, I swear, and now Debug's mentioning it on Frame's Discord server. About how Frame and I are twins. Yeah, I got it. I mean, we both speedrun. And get mad at old games. Then again, who doesn't get mad at times when they speedrun? Maybe unless you're Darbian or Arcus. And literally 2 seconds later you do it anyway. I'm that sort of life form. Just at that moment, Amane enters the classroom pulling Makina by the hand, oblivious to our gossiping. I point my thumb toward the pair and their connected hands. You said Amane doesn't have a habit of holding hands, right? Well, Irisu-san is a special case. If you don't keep a grip on her, she'll wander off to God knows where. Perhaps she's put you in the same category as that girl? Say what? Wait, what? I've been put in the same category as Makina? With a kid like this who you half expect to get lost tottering around after a butterfly? What a seriously unpleasant thought. Suo-san's the helpful type. You know, this might sound a little bad, but perhaps she loves hopeless men? I appreciate that you're probably trying to help, but that's basically an indirect way of saying you look like a hopeless man. Yes, that's exactly what I meant to imply. Way to crush the old spirits there, Yumiko. Could you please stop rubbing salt in the wound without even realizing it? It kinda stings. My, that's unexpected. I was trying to be as generous as possible, too. Mind answering one last question for me? What is it? Is there even a single normal person in this school? I thought I told you already. If they were normal, they wouldn't be here. And that goes for you as well. True enough. Don't think you've got some special variety of unhappiness. Sensing the admonition underneath Sakaki's words, I feel the stirrings of something like shame. Whether it's normal or not, the student life isn't bad in its own way. I start to like this place enough to reach that conclusion. Mihama Academy hallway. A hobby is a window that gives you a fresh perspective on the world, or so my sister said. But when I was a kid, struggling through my daily life was about all I could handle. I disliked and avoided change, even when it might have brought me something new. So my sister's recommendation was to at least try reading books. That sister of mine was an unbelievably voracious bookworm herself, and she began to push the one she finished on me. I soon picked up a reading habit, although I didn't find any particular meaning in it at the time. My sister is dead now, as are my parents and my master, yet I'm still reading. The sister who taught me to read books, the parents who weren't angry at me when I was reading books. And the master who praised me for reading books, buying me as many as I wanted. I am grateful to them now, since I found some meaning in the act of reading. Do you have a moment? Yeah. I turn around in response to Yumiko's reading and find her carrying a sizable load of paperback and hardcover books. I brought some books that I finished reading. Interested? Sure. Appreciate it as always. It's fine. It's convenient for me to have you take them off my hands. As anyone with a long-term reading habit is well aware, books pile up before you know it. That said, it's hard to just throw them away, and selling them to a used bookstore feels disrespectful to the author. The ideal is to find another avid reader to dump them on. Incidentally, before I came, Sakaki had apparently been pushing the books she finished onto the library. By now, she's established her own private shelf in there, full of pleasure reads. Most likely, she spotted me by coincidence as she was carrying her books there, and figured she could save herself the walk. Heavy, right? Here. I slide my hands over the book Sakaki is carrying. Hey! Watch it. Don't take your hands off yet, the books are going to fall. Your hand seems to be touching mine. Of course it is. Don't worry, my hygienic standards are higher than you might expect. That's not what I... Jeez. You complain too much. Alright, I've got a hold on them. You can let go. You're pretty insensitive. Did you know that? That's so? Anyway, I'll gratefully read the books. When I finish one, I'll return to the Sakaki collection, so if you want to reread any of them, they'll be in the library. Fine. Well then, I'll be leaving. Yeah. So, some book titles. The Decisive Pudding Battle. Yesterday's Black Cat. The Exit of the Desert. Sohei Akai. Kumabata Takeru. Hirawa Tsuko. Seno Takumi. Professor Takeda's Dinner. Ethan Crow. An Insolent Woman. Shinonome Kazuma. You blew it, Omori. Although she reads quite a variety of genres and authors, it seems that Sakaki fundamentally likes whodunits. Of the 6 books she passed me, 4 are mysteries. Come to think of it, I could easily see Sakaki sitting at a detective's desk, using her brains for a living. Flipping open one of the books, I speak towards the shadow of a nearby pillar. Machina, how long do you plan on hiding there? I'm not mad or anything, how about you come out? How'd you know it was me? Your aura is too crude. I can sense you even when you're hidden. That's news to me. I just said that for the hell of it. You were casting a shadow on the floor. I could tell it was you from the height in that shaggy head. So my stealth was the crude part? Pretty much. Why are you hiding in the first place? I wasn't really hiding, just keeping quiet till you and Yumi-chan finished talking. You don't get along with Sakaki? I'm okay with her, you know. But I don't think Yumi-chan likes me much. On the other hand, I'm pretty sure Sakaki said something like, I think Irisu-san avoids me on purpose. You're in a state of mutual wariness. Well, I suppose that does happen sometimes. Sakaki, a guarded person who doesn't reveal her thoughts easily, and Machina, who feels most secure when she's burrowed her way into someone's heart. Their personal comfort zones may be incompatible. Well, it's foolish to expect everyone to get along. There's no need to forcibly push these two together, but at the very least maybe a mutual compromise is called for. I don't think Sakaki dislikes you, Machina, so try not to hate her yourself. Like I said, I'm okay with her. It's just, I don't know what to talk with about her. I see. Let me ask you instead. How the heck did you get so friendly with that cranky Yumi-chan? Well, it's not like we're particularly close, but we have a common interest in books, so I guess that helped get things started. Of course, I get the idea Sakaki mostly views me as little more than a convenient book disposal. After all, it's hard to say you're friendly with someone who scowls so bluntly just because your hands touch. Do you have any hobbies? I guess walking, maybe? Mostly by yourself. That's not good. Why not? Doesn't playing by yourself sound kinda lewd? It's all good, yeah? No, also, no. Huh? At the company I work at, solitary hobbies are fundamentally discouraged. They place a lot of stress on keeping up communication with others. When it comes to the interests of the employees, the basics are alcohol, women, and gambling, but it's a bit difficult to own up to that in front of the boss. Therefore, when asked, some of them just came up with a safe-sounding conventional hobby like shogi or go. When the superiors reacted favorably to those answers, the end result was that the hobbies column in the employee survey data recorded an overwhelming number of shogi buffs. Although going with the flow is pretty much the defining Japanese characteristic, it's still something of a pathetic story. Well, having given them a nice safe hobby like reading myself, I guess I can't really say too much. Nothing, just talking to myself. Incidentally, once you're the one giving the surveys out, in other words, an executive type, the hobby of choice would be gardening. Not something you can do when you're living out of barracks. Are hobbies that important? Yeah, it's better to have some interest than not, even if they're really worthless. For example, the aforementioned employees and their wine, women, and song. Even then, if they can help you find a single common interest with someone, your hobbies are worthwhile as social lubricant. Even if they're worthless in every other respect. This is something I heard secondhand from a senior employee at my job, but sometimes you get cases like this. This is a story about a man who took a business trip to Gifu Prefecture. It was a group expedition with the purpose of field testing new equipment that had just been deployed throughout his company. At the time, the man in question was a new employee, not even out of his training period nonetheless. He found himself taking a long, bumpy ride into the mountains on a company bus, accompanied by the chief of a special department. The man didn't have the first clue why he'd been selected for the trip, let alone what he'd be expected to do on it. To make matters worse, he was sitting next to a powerful superior he barely knew. In short, the man was about ready to vomit from sheer terror and anxiety. He fought desperately to keep calm, but his face was pale as a sheet. The bus finally reached its destination at the foot of Mount Kinka in Gifu after many unpleasant hours. But the man's relief was temporary as his boss informed him they would be attending a large banquet in the high-class inn that night. Corporate banquets are basically a cruel kind of talent show. New employees were expected to perform some skill for the amusement of the gathered VIPs. The newbies from each department mounted the stage one after the other. Quite a few croaked out popular karaoke ballads with stiff faces, but there were also some pretty competent juggling acts. Even one stand-up comedy duo which caused some laughs doing imitations of superiors. The man watched the other acts with a fluttering heart. His turn was approaching fast, but he was basically a walking, breathing lump of artistic incompetence. An asocial type without a single talent worth performing in front of others. Just as he was wondering whether he could escape by pretending a sudden illness, the man was practically kicked out onto the stage by the senior employees. For lack of a better thought, he started to sing. But the man didn't know any popular songs. Worse, he couldn't remember any of the standard folk songs or children's music that might have worked in a pinch. The man went instead with the theme song from a superhero TV show, Lightspeed General Daimakarov, which he'd loved as a kid. By this point, he couldn't help but feel a growing sense of despair. This was, of course, the man's first time singing in public, and he didn't have much of a voice. Within moments, he was showered in jeers from the audience. The hell are you singing? What's with you? Hey, asshole, you're just making that up on the spot? That's enough. Get off the stage. You suck! Although he wasn't the type to break down in tears, the man felt a deep urge to dig himself in a hole and crawl into it. Only sheer stubbornness carried him through to the last humiliating note. Right. When it was over, the man quickly bowed from the stage and raced back to his seat. On that walk back from the stage, the man had a thought. I wish I'd learned a popular song or two. So if he'd been singing karaoke as a hobby, he wouldn't have gotten embarrassed? Or if he would have just remembered the words to some songs, then probably. The story isn't over yet. With the equipment test wrapped up, the man returned to his new assignment at the branch office in Shizuoka. Someone called out to him as he was dealing with the transfer paperwork. So you were the newbie who sang Daimakarov at the banquet in Gifu? The man's breath caught in his throat. He'd figured out by now that the main job of his superiors was to flaunt their authority by picking up the smallest mistakes and then rubbing his nose in them. And the manager speaking to him was infamous for his zealous leadership of his underlings. Frankly, the man was about ready to piss his pants. He swallowed and chewed his lip, bitter thoughts running through his head. What's he going to blame on me? How long will I have to grovel? But the manager's words took him by surprise. I loved that show when I was a kid. The man blinked, dumbfounded by this unexpected development. You from Hiroshima, kid? According to the manager, Daimakarov reruns were played relentlessly every weekday afternoon on the local station. In other words, practically every child in Hiroshima grew up watching the show. But the man wasn't a Hiroshima native. In the area he lived in as a child, the Children's Encore Theater program would broadcast old episodes of the show every summer. He just happened to see a few. Even so, the manager must have been really pleased to find a fellow Daimakarov fan, as he began to pull a few strings to the man's benefit. One night after work, the man returned to his bed in the company dorm to find that a white plastic bag had been tucked underneath the sheets on his neatly made bed. He didn't remember putting it there himself, and when he asked around, nobody else had any idea where it came from. Okay, so some food. As a new employee, the man had to eat dinner at a set time of 5 p.m. By 10 p.m., lights out time at the dorm, all the trainees would be starving. The supplemental meal was therefore a very considerate present. The man had an idea who was responsible. Most likely, his Daimakarov buddy at the top was the only one who could have pulled it off. On top of the early dinner time, learning the ropes as a trainee is particularly tiring. His Daimakarov buddy had probably figured he'd have a hard time getting his young body to fall asleep on an empty stomach. The man actually didn't have a particularly big appetite, and wasn't the type to be troubled by irregular meals. But then again, as a new employee, he didn't have much money he could spend freely on snacks and such. A little sugar was extremely welcome. If I get caught, they'll get punished too. So the man split the smuggled food with the other trainees in his room, and they all devoured their shares greedily. As the presence from his Daimakarov buddy continued, that talentless, quiet, and hobbyless triple threat contender for the A-social crown suddenly found himself getting along with the group in the dorm, all thanks to the Daimakarov connection. And 3 months later, when the man's training period came to end, it was once again his Daimakarov buddy whose recommendation got him assigned to the Chiba branch office he'd hoped for. In other words, when it comes to hobbies and interests, anything is fine. You just never know what you're gonna get. Finding friends you can talk about some common interests with is a really valuable thing. Sometimes something that small can be the trigger for gaining a huge leg up in life. That's the moral of the story. Oh, I don't really get it, but Daimakarov kinda sounds like Damakaroon. I'm hungry. I thought this was a pretty meaningful story. I guess it didn't quite get across. Basically, you're saying I should try stuff out and expand my interests instead of playing dolls or wandering around by myself all the time? Well, more or less, when you're young, you should mess around with all sorts of things. Just try to find something that grabs you, even if it's stupid crap. How about you, Oni-chan? Anything got a hold on you right now? After all the spacing out, that's a pretty sharp question. Obscure Castlevania ROM hacks, and randomized Zelda 2. I suppose, right now, I don't have anything other than reading that qualifies. I want a jelly roll. You aren't really listening to a word I say, are you? Well, not to say that you need to. But the word jelly roll in the story now just got me jonesing something fierce. Oh, and the macaroon man, too. Go get Amani to make something. An excellent suggestion. Oni-chan, come to Amani's room later, okay? Let's have snacks together. Yeah, if I'm in the mood. Okay then. See ya. I see. I learned my own lesson from this conversation. If there's a mention of food in the middle of a story, I won't remember another word. I'll have to be more careful next time. School dormitory, Yuji's room. During my middle school days in America, I got a number of strange nicknames from my classmates, mainly because none of them could be bothered to remember a Japanese name. On the predictable side, there was Jap and Shorty. My family name Kazami got abbreviated to KZ as well. Anyone who is actually Japanese who finds the stream, I'm sorry. Jap and Shorty. However, among my numerous nicknames, the only one that stuck their basic training was Gar, short for garbage eater. It's not that a reputation for dumpster diving, it was a reference to my tolerance for shitty food. As to how I earned it, the story is very simple. The KP made a slop unfit for pigs, and I ate it without grimacing. Freeze-dried scrambled eggs, pork and beans made from scraps of ham, bread with peanut butter, and ridiculously stringy mystery meat were the staples. Every one of them had a weird chemical aftertaste, and they were all disgusting. Rumor had it that the secret sauce was gasoline. As for the chocolate cake we got for dessert, it was more commonly and accurately described as a desert. I thought it was going to be made out of cardboard. And frosting. That cake was legendary for being inedible. No matter how starved you were, it would end up stuck in your throat as a dry lump, but I ate it, and all the rest without complaining. Probably because I was living rough from a young age. I've never been what you'd call a picky eater. To put it simply, as long as my belly was full and my body was getting what it needed, the taste wasn't a concern. So, even those 3 torturous meals a day didn't inspire any serious complaints from me. But the people around me must have thought I was some sort of freak, and after a while, my nickname became Garbage Eater, then eventually just Gar. Hey Gar, just how shitty to cook was your mom? I had a set response to this one. My mom didn't cook much. He was too busy screwing your dad's brains out. As far as my jokes go, I thought it was kinda witty, but that line didn't get that many laughs. I guess my delivery was a bit too stony. Well then, what should I do for dinner? If you don't take meals at 3 regular times a day, it throws off your body's clock and leaves you more susceptible to fatigue. I think I should probably honestly just write this down. Just write down the best explanation of my name possible. Because it is a frequently asked question. I mean, Level Engine's an interesting name. Well, at least the level part is very self-explanatory. I had a huge passion for level design in various video games. ROM hacks of Super Mario World definitely being one of my stronger suits. So that explains the level part right there. And eventually the act of eating itself starts to feel like a nuisance. My normal pattern is just throw something together from my supply of canned and dried food. Huh? You were here after all. Well, this is my room. Amane barges in like she owns the place, no longer even bothering to knock. But I'm already getting used to it, I guess. Probably because I've experienced a lot of emergency summons. It didn't get that to me that much in the first place. I told you to come to my room at 7 for dinner, you know? Why didn't you show up? You kept mocking at me waiting in front of the food. As she speaks, I notice that Amane is holding a plate pot with crab legs in her hands. Didn't I say you should come help us eat all the crabs I got from home? I do recall such an event. I also recall responding if I'm in the mood, not that I'd definitely be there. I said that you and Makina should go ahead and eat if I didn't show up on time. What? Do you hate crab or something? Not really. I know, it's too much of a pain to peel off the shell, right? Makina says the same thing. Not that she won't gobble them down if I do it for her. Of course, after I cracked it all open for her, she started yelling about her new invention, the crab croissant, and wrapping it in pieces of bread. The girl just doesn't understand the value of things. After all that, she finishes off by telling me fish paste's yummier. So rude. Probably just means that Makina places more importance on how easy it is to eat. Honestly, I think I'd go for crab paste over crab myself. What the heck? You children disappoint me. There's lots of boys and girls in this world who can't eat even if they want to, you know? That's certainly true. If you understand, then stop complaining and eat up. I'll peel it for you. Look, I wasn't really complaining. I can take care of the shell on my own. In the first place, just what were you going to eat if I didn't show up? Oh, you cooked some rice? Oh, how long ago? It's all stiff. Ah, hey! Hands off! Amane's wandered off to my kitchen and is examining things as she pleases. This almost sounds like my mother here. Or like... This just sounds like the mother kind of person here, Amane. Wandered off to my kitchen and is examining things as she pleases. Always frequently checking up on me and making sure everything's okay. After confirming the contents of my mess kit cooker, she opens the door to my refrigerator and starts taking stock of my supplies. Half-empty canned food, fish sticks and mayonnaise, lettuce and spinach. What's this thing? Canned pickled radish? Where the heck did you even buy this? More importantly, how long has it been open? I opened it at lunch. Got off my back. Why is it that this feels strangely embarrassing? It's not like I have anything troublesome in the fridge. I got another new item in my inventory. Probably another trading card that's 25 cents. A Michiru trading card that's 11 cents. I got the Michiru Matsushima trading card. This one's worth 11 cents. Or 26 gems. I still spent like almost 50 bucks on the game, and I got 36 cents worth of virtual trading cards. Is this woman looking down on the brave men and women who have gained courage from canned food throughout the years? As I silently burn with righteous indignation, Amane brazenly starts running tap water into my rice cooker. Ah, hey, what do you think you're doing? Well, the rice is all hard, so I'm giving it some moisture. I don't care if it's hard. Partly because I'm used to eating canned stuff that comes out arid and stiff as a wax candle. I'm pretty tolerant of tough food. Eggs? Eggs? You only got 2. Mind if I use them both? I don't care about. What are you planning? I'm going to make you crab fried rice. You just sit there and be patient. Well, I suppose pretty much anyone can handle fried rice. Especially for a woman, the somewhat prejudiced assumption that is that you'll have a basic skill like that. Fact is, out of all the women I've met so far, the only one who couldn't make edible fried rice was my master. Still, I can't quite hide a certain anxiety. Not that Amani is paying any attention, humming to herself as she cracks open the eggs. After shaking salt and pepper onto the egg, she mixes in the lightly rinsed rice, then adds bits of crab meat, and finally chopped radish. And cooking. This wouldn't look out of place in a Chinese restaurant. And the finishing touch? Dressing the leftover crab meat with mustard and mayo, she drops it with a thud on top of the heap of fried rice on the plate. Okay! Sorry to keep you waiting! So she says, but it hasn't even been 10 minutes since Amane started to cook. The imposing pile of steaming fried rice on my plate looks pretty damn impressive for something cobbled together out of leftovers, and in such a short time. By the way, don't you have a bigger table or something? You don't seem to have many plates either. Should I bring a few next time? Not necessary, I've got what I need. The table is a small coffee table, for one that Sachi dragged out of some storeroom as a stopgap measure. And the frying pan and what tableware I have are things I picked out carelessly at local 100 yen in hardware stores. But since I'm living alone, it's all perfectly adequate. No point in getting more dishes when I'm only eating off one. Just means more things to wash. I guess you don't seem to be backed up on the dishes at least. Noticing something as she speaks, Amani returns to the kitchen and starts to rustle through out a plastic bag in the corner. Is this garbage? Can I throw it out? Yeah. I've been throwing my empty oolong tea bottles in that bag, and before I knew it I had something of a pile, but I was uncertain about the timing to throw them out. Tomorrow's recycling day, so I'll take it out with mine. With well-practiced movements, she peels off the labels, removes the caps, and skillfully cuts off their plastic rings with the tip of a kitchen knife. So, with bottles now, throwing out bottles. Clearly, she's something of an eco-friendly woman. Okay, I'm going back to my room. When you're done, make sure to soak the plate in sink, okay? I'll come wash it later. No, I can take care of that much myself. Sorry for the hassle. Not a problem, I need to show off my talents in this department, or you'll get the idea I'm just a horny big sister role player. With a quick goodbye, Amane heads out of the room, not waiting for my impressions of the crab fried rice. I had the idea that a busybody woman like her would be more likely to hang over my shoulder pestering me for compliments, but she just popped in all of a sudden, cooked for me in a flash, and then left just as quickly. It might be the influence of dealing with that whimsical machina all the time. Let's see. Unfortunately, I don't have a Chinese spoon in this room, so I'll have to make do with the standard Western variety. I jab my spoon into the mountain of steaming fried rice and quickly throw some into my mouth. Not bad at all. Even someone as disinterested in food as me can tell when something tastes good. The salt seasoning feels a bit thin, but this is probably how it should be if you're thinking about healthy sodium intake. Although it would be insulting to compare this with the crap my master made, it's also indifferent from the stuff you'd get at a high-priced Chinese restaurant. It tastes like your standard fried rice. What's with this flavor? When I was living alone with my mother as a child, I remember eating fried rice that tasted like this. After finishing her day job, my mother would make me dinner before night shift started. Okay, so more backstory about fried rice. When all she could put on the table was fried rice with a bit of pink fish paste added, she would apologize and say, "I'm sorry, but this is all we got." Unlike the fried rice Amane just made, there was never anything extravagant like crab thrown in. And Amane's cooking skills seem to be better as well. So why is it that they taste similar? Where's this slight melancholy coming from? In eating rice. The sadness that comes with eating rice. Doesn't matter as long as it's good. When I was a kid, anything I ate tasted good. That part of me hasn't changed too much. It's very dangerous to jump to conclusions about someone. When you make a judgment without sufficient information, you're going to be at least slightly off. Whether that's an over or underestimation that clouds your perception often comes back to bite you in the end. My employer is exactly the sort of organization that lives and dies by gathering accurate intelligence, and I heard a lot about its importance from my acid-tongued master as well. Therefore, I make a conscious effort not to label others prematurely. Oh, finally, we get to see Michiru again after a while. I mean, we hadn't even really talked with Michiru much recently. What's going on? Those noises, though. That said, every time this Matsushima Michiru girl enters my field of vision, I find myself dying to stick exactly such a mental label on her. Yo, Michiru. I've been standing in front of you for a while now. Why are you acting like you just noticed? Give me a break here. I was concentrating. You didn't even register. I didn't even see you. It was poor visibility conditions, got it? I see. Understood. But that other lack of awareness might cost you your life someday. Please make sure to look both ways for cars before you cross the road. Shut up, stupid! I offer an appropriate warning given your actions. Why the verbal abuse? Go away, you jerk! Michiru vigorously throws the empty paper carton she was holding at me. Flying into a fit of rage just because someone tells you something you don't want to hear isn't a good habit. I hope you go sour. Go sour right now, jerk! Judging that I don't have a foothold in this conversation, I pick up the garbage Michiru hurled at me and temporarily withdraw from the scene. 100% vitamin C drink? Reading out the description printed on the carton, I tilt my head in bemusement. Oh, Xblod, welcome back. This is a visual novel. I'm still more or less being introduced to the main characters and, like, the main setting. There's, like, 5 main characters and 1 route for each. Well, aside from the protagonist himself, there's, like, 5 girls who attend this academy also. They each have their own route. I heard things were gonna get very interesting once I actually started going on to one of the character routes. I've seen plenty of 100% fruit juice drinks, but this is a new one. The parent company of this manufacturer is a pharmaceutical corporation. Maybe it's some sort of undiluted vitamin solution used in beauty products? And now we're talking about fruit juice with vitamin C. Which means that it's probably incredibly sour and acidic. It must be torture to drink unless you got a pretty strong tolerance for that sort of thing. So why was she drinking this stuff? From the look on her face, I don't think it was out of fondness for the taste. Some kind of self-flagellation, or maybe... Why are you here? Interrupting my thoughts, Sakaki stares at me suspiciously. Yo, if it is a human. For the moment, can I confirm if that was intended to be some sort of nickname for me? Calm down. If you lose your sense of humor, you won't be able to live a fun life. I'm not particularly looking to live a fun life. I see. In that case, it wasn't a nickname. Slip of the tongue. Happy now? You are a truly aggravating human being. Aggravating as I may be, Sakaki nonetheless approaches me. What's that in your hand? This? It's an empty soft drink carton. That blonde girl was drinking it earlier. And you have it. Why? Please don't tell me you enjoy collecting that sort of thing. Is collecting this sort of thing as evil as a hobby as that scowl implies? I'm interested. Please explain in detail. Why don't you look it up online if you're so curious? For some reason, Sakaki is trembling with anger. Seems I still can't anticipate what will trigger this woman's wrath. To return to the subject, that's the one Matsushima-san is always drinking while making that terrible face. Right, I want to ask about that. Why is she drinking something she so plainly hates? Did she lose a bet? Is she being bullied? Was she placed under a malevolent spell? There's really no middle ground in your thinking, is there? So correct me. I don't have an answer either. I haven't gotten too involved with the girl. In the first place, she's just a classmate. I don't have any particular interest in her. And I'm pretty sure you knew this was Michiru's carton before you asked. Does mocking people like this come naturally to you? Or do you save it specially for me? I was just trying to explore an apparent logical inconsistency. The wrinkles in Sakaki's forehead grow deeper and her glare sharper. Apparently there are some logical inconsistencies best left unexplored when she's around. Specifically, those concerning her contrary personality. The girl does eat a lot of sweets and such. Maybe she's just interested in the variety of tastes. Now that you mention it, seems like she's always carrying those Ramune candies around. My, you're a fairly observant one yourself. Does Matsushima-san interest you? Are you interested in knowing whether I'm interested in Michiru? I'm making a mental note not to talk too much around you. Goodbye. With an extremely displeased expression, Yumiko leaves the roof. There sure are a lot of troublesome girls in this place. After spending a little time sharing a dorm with them, it's pretty obvious that everyone in this place has a few screws loose and probably a few skeletons in the closet as well. Amani and Sakaki aren't easy to deal with in the first place, and there seems to be more to them than they are letting on. The same is probably true of Makina and Sachi. That said, when it comes to that bottle blonde girl, no matter how many times I try to look below the surface, I keep hitting rock bottom right away. If she's got any hidden depths, they're very well hidden. In other words, I got a persistent suspicion that she's an idiot. Still, it's too early to label her. I should bide my time and get a better idea of her personality before reaching any conclusions. But seriously now. Person. Okay. Oh. What are you doing? Yeah? You again? What are you spying on me for? I'm not spying on you, I just happen to be here. Leaving that aside, are you drawing the character for person on your hand? That's a pretty stale superstition. What's it to you? This works wonders for heartburn and indigestion. Mind your own business. Heartburn and indigestion? That's right, just draw the character on your hand, then pretend to eat it. Bam! You're cured! It's an amazing magic spell. I'll let you imitate it if you ask nicely. Sure, it might come in handy sometime. Don't forget to show your gratitude when that day comes. Michiru-sama's body works in such convenient ways. I'm rather envious. I thought the drawing on your hand thing was supposed to calm you down before a big public speech or whatever. Since when did it become a replacement for azulene sulfonate sodium? While I'm sadly ignorant of its exact chemical composition, it's an undisputed fact that the inside of Michiru-sama's body is a land of many wonders. You're pretty cruel, Sachi. Am I? With my respect. Oh, never mind. Hey, Amane, hold it! No, it's a visual novel. Certainly is Japanese. Michiru, what's wrong? That juice you bought for me yesterday is way past the expiration date! Oh, no way, I checked it myself, I'm sure it was fine. Take a look for yourself. Here, it says May 3rd. A whole month? Let me see that. Michiru. Don't worry, I'm not mad or anything. Just admit that even a perfect housewife like you slips up sometimes. What year is it? I'm not an idiot. It's 2012, of course. It's 2011. Wait. It is? It is indeed. Then this date, Yes, the expiration date on this thing is May of 2012, a whole 11 months from now. Understand? And you come in here accusing me of... You gotta go make dinner. Sorry to bother you, Amane. Hold it right there! You snapped at me over your own dumb mistake. How about an apology? She ran away. Yo. Were you watching? Ever since your polite greeting of God towards your classmates. After you've spent enough time with that girl, that's the natural reaction. I think I can see where you're coming from. Pile enough of these cases together and I can't help but bring my deadline for a conclusion forward. One day the topic of Michiru comes up when we're all gathered together. Incidentally, the person in question is already in bed. Chiru is an alien. Oh, sweet. Makiana in casual clothes and not just some school uniform. Honestly, she'd probably look great in anything. Sometimes she rolls the silver paper around her head and receives transmissions from space. Not a fact? If you keep an eye on Chiru, you'll see it before long. Although I have no intention of taking anything Makina says seriously, the scary thing is, when she says this about Michiru, it almost feels plausible. An alien, is it? What? You haven't thought about that? I'm talking to myself, so could you please not butt in? You were mumbling something interesting, so I was curious. Sorry. Please let me hear about your delusions about Michiru the ET when you're in a better mood. Sorry if I rubbed you the wrong way, but try to keep in mind that I don't mean anything by it. How about you try not to rub me the wrong way instead? Well, anyway, I'm just glad that vacant head of hers hasn't put her life at risk. I'm gonna guess maybe it has and there's a backstory that we don't know yet? Perhaps the original Michiru-sama has in fact wandered off a cliff and died, and the current generation is an entirely different person. Sorry, Sachan. I think that's going a little overboard. I suppose you're right. More possibly, there's a good chance Michiru-sama's brains haven't yet processed the fact that she's dead. That's really not any better. A devil lives inside Chiru. A devil? She's camouflaging herself with that show of idiocy, but... once that veil is lifted, the heartless devil inside her will emerge at last. And bathe the earth in our blood. What's the matter, Sakaki? Sounds like you suddenly caught your breath in fear. Did I not ask you to stop reacting to everything I do? I can do without the play-by-play commentary. I'm going to bed. This is getting a little frightening. Isn't it kind of cold tonight? Now that you mention it, it is a bit chilly. Better get under the covers before I catch a cold. Okay, good night everybody. Oni-chan, you just forget about Chiru and have nice dreams, okay? Is it really okay to just forget about her? The next morning. Having finished my usual morning routine, I'm waiting for the others in the lobby. But for some reason, nobody's showing up. Everybody's late at once? Seems like a bit too much of a coincidence. The pattern so far has been Amane and Maki noisily arriving first, followed by Sachi and Michiru noisily arriving second, with Sakaki sullenly arriving last. The normally routing morning is bizarrely quiet today. Good morning. Just as I'm thinking this, Amane appears around the corner of the hallway. She's hunched over, hiding the breast she's so proud of. Her hair is sticking up in places and her skin seems rough. Shouldn't have stayed up when the season's changing. You look bad. Your beloved breasts are all shriveled. No way! That can't! Of course, I'm just screwing with you. What kind of cold would cause breasts to shrink? Haven't heard of one. Look, could you maybe not torment the sick person? Yeah, of course I saw the resemblance between me and Frame. Understood. I'll do my best. Where are the others? Dunno. Makana's out of it in their room. She must have caught the same bug as me. So we're waiting on the other three. As I speak, someone appears from around the corner. Good morning. Sachi has an equally severe case of the sniffles. Her maid uniform is disheveled, bringing to mind certain cheap Japanese pornos. Ah, geez, you too, Sachan? Yeesh. I'm truly a failure as a maid for such sloppy management of health. In olden days, I would probably have been forced to kill myself to atone for my incompetence. I don't think there are many historical periods where catching a cold was punishable by death, Sachi. Ah, good morning, Kazami-san. Where are the others? I'm leaving though because this is some weeaboo shit, lol. Well, it certainly is. Makana's unconscious in her room. Sakaki has the cold too, right? It's obvious from a look at Yumiko's face that she's in bad shape herself. She must be pretty out of it since she hasn't noticed that her socks are strangely bunched up at the toe. Her hair is a mess too, with loose strands bouncing around with every step. I'm guessing this one is your favorite, Debug, right? Yumiko? Leave it. Mind if I ask when I'm supposed to be leaving? I'm sure you're dying to get in your kicks, right? Leave it alone. Could you just direct your sadistic interest elsewhere for the moment? Understood. I won't comment on your bunched up socks or those stray hairs you got all over the place. You better watch out once I get better. Yumiko's forehead creases in the usual way as she straightens her hair and fixes her socks. But the powerful aura of rage that normally accompanies her scowls isn't there. Staying healthy is part of my job. So the only ones healthy would be Kazami-san and... Yes, come to think of it, I haven't seen her yet today. At the very moment, everyone was imagining a certain face. Michiru. How pathetic, you guys! Michiru dramatically appears in the hallway as if she'd been lying in wait for the right moment to make her grand entrance. Probably because she had, in fact, been lying in wait for the right moment to make her grand entrance. She jabs a finger out of this in an apparent attempt to make an impressive pose. You've gotta watch out when the seasons change. Sure enough, every one of you gets sick yet again. You're negligee with your health. I'm not sick. Also, did you mean negligent? Talk about negligee! Negligee! Ignoring me and her own poor grasp of the language, Michiru continues to harp on the negligee group. Even though your energy is all you're good for, you catch a cold and stand around sniffing like idiots? Seriously pathetic. I don't want to hear this from you of all people. Likewise, ignoring Sakaki's crankiness, Michiru reaches into the pouch she's carrying, takes out a variety of boxes and plastic pouches, and places them on the common room table. Everyone take your instant porridge and medicine and get better at once, understood? It pisses me off, but I can't talk back this time. I'll take it with the thanks, Michiru-sama. Thank me if you must, or rather, you must thank me. In a truly rare spectacle, the group obediently follows Michiru's orders. The girl seems overjoyed, almost disturbingly so. At times like these, for some reason, that girl's always the only one who stays healthy. This has happened before? I don't know why, but Matsushima-san is the only one who doesn't catch the bugs that go around the dorm. Frankly, for a while I was suspicious she was poisoning us. Poisoning? Why are you lost in thought all of a sudden? You might not be too far off with that hypothesis, it's just that you aren't the ones being poisoned here. What? But once again I'm splendidly resistant to colds. I wonder why. A daily vitamin C intake on the level of self-poisoning. A sleep and activity schedule like that of a grade schooler. And a naturally tranquil, vacant mind. Combining all of these factors, it's no wonder she doesn't get sick often. But whatever. Come on, don't just stand there, Yumiko. Take what you need and get back to your room. You don't have to tell me. I see. I've gotten something of a new perspective on this girl. Honestly, there's no mistaking the fact she's an idiot, but without a doubt, she's a necessary idiot for this place. Among this strangely precocious bunch, Michiru is a complete outlier in her lifestyle patterns and thought processes. I guess their presence actually helps to balance out the group in a way. The porridge. There's no plum flavor. Ah, Money took that one. Alright, I'll bring one to your room later, so just take the medicine back for now. Okay. Thank you. Yes, Yumiko, shower me in gratitude. Oh, no, I mean, you can sprinkle me with a little gratitude, if you feel like it. Above all, I'm seriously surprised by the way something vaguely resembling friendly feelings seems to be temporarily present between her and this box cutter woman. Sakaki's apparent interest in Michiru also seems to hint at some sort of positive emotion. Michiru might have some sort of mysterious charm in her own right. Hey, Yuji! What? You too, don't just stand there, put on a face mask so you don't catch their cold. Here, I got some ready, so hurry up. Yeah, I'll take one. Taking the mask Michiru thrusts out of me, I return to my room. There are parts of people you can't judge from a unified perspective. Trivial as it might seem, I picked up another bit of knowledge at this school. What's she having this time? Several days after the cold incident in the dormitory, once again, I encountered Michiru drinking something sour in the lobby. From the way she's writhing in agony, she doesn't seem to have gotten used to it in the least. Why are you so caught up in drinking sour things? You don't seem to enjoy them. Do you enjoy making yourself miserable? If this is just one facet of a deeper, masochistic fetish, I'll have to demonstrate a certain level of acceptance and understanding. Shut up already! Getting lots of vitamin C makes you smarter. Don't you know that much? What? Who published a thesis like that, and where? I like to think I have a basic familiarity with the benefits of vitamins, at least. Vitamin C's effects are so famous that I'm actually surprised to hear anyone was still researching it. Thesis? Don't know about that? But, you know, it's in sardine or tuna heads or whatever. You've heard about it, right? Vitamin C! Sardines? The head of tuna? Sardines, tuna, and a positive effect on the intellect? I think I get it. What? Finally remembered? But I won't give you any. I'll show you. I'm gonna get way smarter than you! Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What's with that confident expression? You'll regret this when I'm the one teaching you stuff. Unfortunately, judging from the way she's confusing vitamin C with DHA, that's probably not gonna happen anytime soon. But to explain her mistake here and now would be too cruel. I'm sure she'll naturally discover the truth herself someday. Well, you may not be capable of teaching me much at the moment, but I'm counting on you to help me out if I get sick. What's with that? Don't worry about it, you just keep up the vitamin C intake and regular sleep patterns for everyone's sake. I plan to. Not that it's any of your business! Spitting out a venerable tsundere stock phrase as our parting shot, Michiru stalks off. I don't stick labels on people prematurely, but regarding the girl named Matsushima Michiru, in consideration of various events up to and including the current case, I have arrived at a certain conclusion. So full of yourself. Don't think I'm gonna give you any of my vitamin C brain juice. This girl is in fact an idiot. Vitamin C brain juice. Probably because I've been living in a world where maintaining a decidedly realist perspective is a matter of necessity. I've never felt any interest in the paranormal or occult phenomena. Such stories are often frauds, created to prey on the weakness of human nature, and more fundamentally, I've never found any meaning in the idea of the supernatural. But in my workplace, where human lives are frequently given and taken, these sorts of rumors aren't uncommon. Even a disinterested party like me has absorbed more stories than I can count on both hands. Huh? So what ended up happening for the person who approached the tunnel? When he got back, he went delirious with fever. His limbs grew numb and eventually totally immobile. When a doctor examined them, they couldn't find any cause for his condition. They threw him in the towel and left him to rot in bed. This is made up, right? When Kazami-san tells the story, it seems frighteningly real. YouTube's probably just making up a fake ending to scare us. I bet the guy's perfectly fine. They still keep in touch even now. No, that's what really happened, and he died a month later. Eek! That's a lie! He should be fine by the template! Say it's a lie, alright? I don't tell lies, even white lies. He's dead. Left me a little something in his will. I got no friggin' idea if Kiruchi was happy or terrified. That doesn't sound happy, by the way. I believe Michiru-sama is scared out of her wits, such as they are. Compared to the reasonably calm Sachi and Makina, Mikiru's in a state of serious terror. Y'all are hopeless. I'd say she's not quite unaffected herself either. Was his death in fact related to some sort of curse? Don't know. He wasn't that healthy to start out with, so there's a good chance he just picked up some illness that killed him. But the doctor couldn't find anything wrong with him, right? Yeah. Maybe I should just take a bit of time to actually appreciate the voice acting rather than just speaking over it. Ah, geez, I'm telling you, that's too freaky. Maybe he was, like, chronically ill, or you noticed him coughing for half a year before that? Isn't there some explanation like that, please? Nope. Michiru clamps her hands over her ears and thrashes around, moaning like a wild animal. The course of her evolution seems to have reached a new stage. This isn't the time to cite that hypothesis. Were you that scared? Sorry. Just surprised and scared! Calm yourself, Michiru-sama. You're spinning in circles like the hands of a clock. I mean, what's wrong with this guy? Usually you'd show consideration and lighten the story up just a teensy bit. He's ruthless. Totally ruthless. There, it'll be okay. Even if Kiru did piss herself from fear on the spot, everyone here is kind enough to pretend we didn't notice. I did not piss myself. And that's cruelty, not kindness. Don't ignore something like that. Understood. If and when Michiru pisses herself, I promise to pay close attention. If and when Michiru pisses herself, I promise to just go pick the lock on the bathroom door and watch her pee. When she pees, I pay close attention. Piss off! At any rate, my story's over, so let's stop for now. I'll piss off, but I won't piss myself. I blow out the flame on the last of the 5 candles that's still burning. That's that. Good work, everyone. Sachi turns on the lights and begins to clean up the candles. After dinner, for some reason, they all ended up telling scary stories in the lobby. It was a standard campfire-style ghost stories round, with everyone having a try at frightening the rest. Maybe the lukewarm summer night made for a good atmosphere as everybody got into it. When you get down to it, that last story from Yuji-kun has to be the scariest. Yes, the way Kazami-san's story wasn't dressed up made it seem particularly believable. Well, it's not fiction. Cut it out! At least say it's just a story at the end. That's the absolute minimum of human decency. If I told you it was just a story now, would you believe me? Sure I would. If you say it, I'll believe you. Alright, got it. That story about the tunnel was all a lie. Also, my coworker's alive and kicking. Huh? It's no good. I can't buy that. Get this out of my head. Brainwash me. Bring me a brainwashing machine right now. I think they'd give up after a few minutes with your brain. Ignoring Michiru's hysterics, everyone starts to head back to their rooms. At this point, I realize something's been a bit odd about tonight. Come to think of it, I haven't seen Sakaki. The others pause at my words and turn back around with thoughtful expressions on their faces. Now that you mention it, I haven't run into her today either. Sachan, how about you? No. I did catch a glimpse of her in a school, but I don't recall seeing her in the dorm. I saw her for just a sec, but she went right into her room. I don't know about after that. Maybe she didn't want to deal with us in the group? Given Sakaki's personality, I can't imagine her voluntarily participating in this sort of social event. My guess would be that she just shut herself up in her room, since she can't avoid running into our gathering if she went downstairs. No, she doesn't really hate this sort of event. Really? Well, I wouldn't say she goes out of her way to join in, but I think she feels like she should at least show up. Amane nods at Michiru's words. That's right. Usually when everybody gathers here, she'll be standing over there, mostly just listening. She points to a pillar on the edge of the lobby in the hallway. Yeah, so it feels comparatively unusual that she didn't show up. I see. Yumi-chan's by the book Kuderi, so she's just being shy. If Oni-chan brings out the beast inside and attacks, she'll go, but that's embarrassing. And full like a house of cards! Yes, I think that would be an appropriate measure. Sakaki-san constantly exhibits a Kuderi personality of near-robotic perfection, you see. I believe it's practically certain that this event is simply another expression of it. I just felt a lot of sympathy for Yumiko. Sympathy? Why? I get it. It's because Kirikou is a really transparent character too, right? You identify with her or something? Tribal solidarity? Team spirit? Come on, don't look away. Spit it out. Shut up! I'm sympathetic as a fellow victim of your constant screwing around, you jerk. Wow, please don't shout like that, Michiru-sama. If you raise your voice all of a sudden, you might break something in that fragile head of yours. I'm deeply concerned about your rash lifestyle. Sachi, you too? You're just as bad! As I watch Makana, whose abusive tongue and nasty personality are growing more pronounced, Sachi, whose cyborg-like reactions are growing more dramatic, and Michiru, who's growing more victimized by the day, I find myself growing a little curious about Sakaki's way of life. Come to think of it, since that box cutter incident was resolved a few days ago, I don't remember exchanging anything but very basic communications with her. I don't intend to pry too deeply, but for the sake of a smooth school life from this point on, it might be a good idea to learn a little bit more about her. Hey, there's something I want to ask you guys. Do you have a few minutes? I feel like leaving it here for now. I'll leave it at this for now and just call it a night.